Welcome to 365 English. Listen to stories easily. We help you learn English happily through various stories. The speed is slow and the pronunciation is clear. The more you listen, the more you will enjoy it. If you like it, please like it, leave a message to chat, and don't forget to subscribe. Hope and challenges after visa unblocking. How Trump's immigration policy in 2025 ignites the dreams and peace mission of international students. Part 1. In April 2025, a federal announcement made the long-dormant global study abroad circle boil again. The Trump administration suddenly announced that it would restore the SCVIS records of all international students and lift some visa restrictions. This policy change has aroused hope and also caused waves of concern on the campuses of many American universities. Outside the campus of the University of Washington, students held up signs that read, "We are not a threat, we are the future." This is not only a policy reversal, but also a multifaceted discussion about the future of education, identity, and peace. The return of SCVIS, a political signal behind a technical move. The SCVIS system was originally a tool for tracking the legal status of international students, but from mid-2024, thousands of students were quietly marked as non-compliant for minor violations, expired visas, or political speech. Some people were even included in the potential deportation list without notice. The situation did not change until the federal court ruling in April 2025. The court believed that the silent treatment of the Immigration Bureau violated the students' right to know and right to appeal. Trump responded on the lawn of the White House, "We welcome people to study here, not to make trouble." This short sentence triggered polarized reactions. His deputy Marco Rubio said, "Restoring SCVIS records is necessary, but it does not mean that we are weak." This remark makes people realize that there is still a warning behind the relaxation of policies. The pain of reality, when legal becomes an uncertainty. For Sarah, an Iranian doctoral student at the University of California, this change does not mean complete safety. She was investigated for participating in politically sensitive issues, for organizing a peace advocacy forum on campus. Although there were no substantial consequences, her visa renewal was delayed for nearly half a year. "I just advocate dialogue, empathy, and mutual understanding. Is this also called sensitivity?" she said, looking at the I-20 document that has not been updated with a complicated expression. In the past year, more and more students have found that policy uncertainty has penetrated every corner of life. Can they renew their visas smoothly? Will they be recorded for accidentally entering a protest site? Can they still enter the workplace smoothly after graduation? These questions are weighing on their shoulders in their 20s, who should be full of hope. Behind the statistics, coexistence of dreams and anxiety. According to the latest report from the Institute of International Education, IIE, the number of international students in the United States will fall below 900,000 for the first time in the second half of 2024, a decrease of nearly 18% from 2022. Among them, the proportion of students who were temporarily suspended or pending identity verification was as high as 12%. Within a week of the release of the latest restoration policy, the SCVIS system restored the records of 214,000 students. This seems to be a database cleaning on the technical level, but for these people, it is the beginning of breathing air again. In the 3 days after the records were restored, the number of visitors to New York University's Psychological Counseling Center increased by nearly 40%. Many students did not leave because of anxiety, but for the first time, they mustered up the courage to talk about the suppressed fear and loneliness of the past year. Label war in the media vortex. Who defines qualified international students? In mid-April 2025, a short clip broadcast by Fox News sparked widespread discussion. In the video, a Pakistani student mentioned in a campus speech that global peace needs to transcend hegemonic culture, and the clip was edited as an example of potential disloyalty. When Trump forwarded the video, he wrote, "We welcome diligent international students, but we do not tolerate the denial of our values." This sentence quickly fermented on social media and also attracted a large number of support and rebuttals. In this context, some conservative media began to advocate screening loyalty and advocated value assessment for international students. This aroused a joint protest from Harvard, Stanford, and other universities. And the statement pointed out, university is a place for the collision of ideas, not an ideological filter. True story, the loss and gain of a scholarship. Liang is a science and engineering student from Guangdong, China, who received a full scholarship from Michigan Tech. But because he forwarded a domestic news in his social account, his visa was once frozen. After the visa was restored, the school restarted the scholarship process. But this experience completely changed his habit of using social media. He said, "I dare not like or forward, I only dare to like cats and dogs." He said it easily, but there is a question hidden in every word. When expression becomes a risk, will self-castration become a daily routine in the future? The tearing of the psychological map, the resonance of anxiety from different cultures. In addition to the uncertainty of administrative procedures, psychological distress is also quietly spreading. The International Student Mental Health Report, released by Columbia University, pointed out that 47% of the respondents felt not completely welcome in the United States, and more than 60% of them admitted that they completely avoided political topics to avoid getting into trouble. Especially after a series of geopolitical news related to the Middle East and Asia was hyped in early 2025, students generally showed a sense of cultural isolation. Psychologist Dr. Amelia Rains pointed out, this is not a typical cultural adaptation period anxiety, but an existential uneasiness caused by policy vacancy. She advocated that schools should establish a more resilient psychological support network and introduce elements of peace education to enable students to find ways to express and connect in chaos. Peace education, not escaping reality but redefining the sense of power. Faced with the anxiety caused by policy fluctuations, some educators have begun to turn to peace education as a way out. This educational method emphasizes conflict resolution, cross-cultural understanding, and emotional empathy. It is not only part of the humanities, but is also being incorporated into engineering, business, and other courses. MIT's Global Peace Design Lab has added modules such as identity crisis countermeasures, cross-cultural dialogue simulation, and conflict script reconstruction to its courses. Professor Maria Lopez said, "If we only teach technology but not how to understand people, then we are training tool people, not citizens of the world." And students are not opposed to this. On the contrary, many people began to spontaneously organize dialogue dinner, cultural story sharing night, and refugee and international student reading group. These activities made them realize that peace is not an abstract ideal, but empathy accumulated in daily interactions. Policy gray area, stay awake in the light of hope. Although visa restoration is regarded as a goodwill signal, many immigration lawyers remind that restoring SCVIS records does not mean that past behavior records have been written off. Those risk labels, recorded due to misunderstandings, may still cause obstacles in future visa applications or work permit reviews. Joshua Lin, an immigration lawyer in Los Angeles, pointed out, many students think that restoring their status means everything is cleared, which is actually a misunderstanding. The policy does not have a real amnesty mechanism, but only suspends accountability. This means that in the future, some students may still be denied visas or restricted from employment due to historical behavior. even if they are now in a legal status on the surface. Conclusion: ignite a sense of mission in uncertainty rather than extinguishing dreams. Every international student carries the expectations of his family and his own ideals. They cross language, culture, time differences, and policy barriers for a simple goal: to learn, grow, and give back to the world. But in the reality of 2025, this goal is often smashed by reality. For this reason, peace education is no longer just a symbol of humanitarian ideals, but a tool to help young people find their sense of direction and self-positioning. Policies can fluctuate, but the essence of education should be stability and hope. Under the shadow of visas, students need to know more than ever that they are not isolated islands, but part of the bridge to the future. Part II: Reflection and Reconstruction After the Visa Crisis: How International Students Can Face the Future with Peace Education. With the spring breeze of visa restart, many international students seem to have woken up from a long winter. However, the shadow under the sun still exists. The restoration of SEVIS records is a restart notice and an explanation for the turmoil in the past few months. But for students, real recovery is not only the update of legal documents, but also the reconstruction of psychological order. On April 10, 2025, the U.S. Immigration and Customs Enforcement issued a notice allowing the restoration of SEVIS records of F1 students who were terminated due to policy freezes. This policy has brought hope to thousands of students who have interrupted their studies due to visa issues. But within 24 hours of the announcement, protests broke out on campuses of at least 12 colleges and universities, and some students called for the complete abolition of the political review clause. Anand, an Indian student at the University of Massachusetts, said, "Although I can continue to go to school, I am still anxious. Who can guarantee that it won't suddenly fail next time?" His concerns are not isolated. The Trump administration statement mentioned that all international students in the United States will be subject to higher standards of behavior review, including participating in protests and spreading sensitive remarks, which may become the basis for visa rejection. This behavioral filtering mechanism, with vague standards, is considered by the academic community to be highly political. The power of peace education takes root in anxiety. In the aftermath of the visa crisis, an educational issue that was originally marginal has quietly entered the mainstream: peace education. It is no longer just a theoretical concept in the classroom of anthropology, but has become a practical tool in the lives of tens of thousands of international students. Rana, a doctoral candidate in psychology from Jordan, took the initiative to open a cross-cultural emotional repair group after the storm to help students from the Middle East, Southeast Asia, and Africa learn how to build trust in unfamiliar cultures. We don't want to waste time on fear anymore. We want to learn how to understand each other in chaos. Peace education is not only emotional regulation, but also a form of resistance. It helps young people respond to institutional injustice in a nonviolent way. For example, a student club in Northern California used the Model United Nations debate method to help students who were isolated due to visa issues regain the courage to express themselves. This is the first time I have talked about my faith, family, and country in an English speech. I was afraid of saying it wrong before, but now I know that this is my right to exist," an Iranian student said at the meeting. Reconstruction and empowerment under psychological rift. The visa crisis not only blocked flights, but also tore apart the psychological belief system of many people. The dream of studying abroad, which was originally regarded as the door to change destiny, is extremely fragile in the policy swings. According to a survey conducted by the Center for International Education Research, IIE, in April 2025, 63% of the international students surveyed said that they experienced significant emotional fluctuations due to visa issues, and 27% of them had considered interrupting their studies. We used to think that as long as we work hard, the system will reward us, but visa policies tell us that the rules can also change without explanation. A Nigerian master's student said that he was forced to return home due to a visa freeze and eventually chose to transfer to Canada. In this trauma, more and more universities have launched the Peace Resilience Program, which includes courses such as emotional mindfulness, cross-cultural communication, conflict mediation, and how to maintain psychological resilience in political uncertainty. A lecturer at the University of California pointed out, "We teach not only how to understand policies, but, more importantly, how to face unfairness instead of being knocked down by it." Challenges to academic freedom under policy review. Although the restoration of SEVIS has given some students hope, academic freedom is still under pressure. On April 20, 2025, a sociology professor at Florida State University was investigated for organizing students to discuss U.S.-China relations and student immigration, which caused an uproar in the academic community. "We should not be punished for discussion. This is not democracy," the professor said in an interview with the New York Times. The Trump administration responded, "Colleges should avoid becoming a hotbed of ideological confrontation." However, this statement triggered a joint protest from many universities in the United States, believing that it violated the freedom of speech guaranteed by the First Amendment. In this atmosphere, the voice of international students has been further compressed. Many people began to turn to underground spaces, organizing silent seminars and sharing their views anonymously online. Although these underground classrooms are full of risks, they have also condensed a new educational ethic. Even in the dark, the fire of thinking is not extinguished. The road to reconciliation between the dream of studying abroad and reality. Despite the constant turmoil, the dream of studying in the United States has not been extinguished. The tenacity of the international student community is the most moving chapter in this history. They still adhere to their academic ideals in the chaos and use their actions to prove that knowledge can transcend national boundaries, culture, and politics. They are not only victims of immigration policies, but also sowers of future peaceful changes. Some schools, such as Columbia University and the University of Pennsylvania, have announced that they will add a global peace literacy module to the curriculum system to enable international students to master conflict resolution and cultural understanding skills outside of their majors. These courses are not placebos, but real skills to help young people face an uncertain, turbulent, but possible world. Peace is not just a political slogan, but a life choice. From the psychological counseling room in California to the underground forum in New York, from the debate group in Maryland to the empathy lab at the University of Texas, international students in 2025 are using their wisdom and courage to reshape the meaning of studying abroad. The visa policy of the Trump administration shows the cruelty of power, but it also inadvertently awakens the young generation's deep desire for peace, respect, and understanding. If the visa crisis is a crisis, then this crisis also inspires the educational mission of another era, not only to teach knowledge, but also to teach people how to find dignity in unfairness and make their voices heard in uncertainty. International students are the pioneers of this change. They transform pain into understanding and frustration into a bridge of communication. They are not outsiders, but builders of the future of world peace. Their study abroad is no longer just a personal journey, but an awakening and reshaping of the entire human education system. Their stories should not be simplified into the ups and downs of whether or not they can get a visa, but should be remembered as how to safeguard the most precious consensus of mankind in the midst of chaos. We may be different, but we must coexist. You did a great job today. Thank you for watching 365 English. Don't forget to like, leave a message, and comment. We look forward to seeing you in the next video.